Ian from Lean Media. Today I thought I'd do a little fun thing. The 4 online advertising platforms that I've used ranked from best to worst. And if this video helps, please take a moment to like it and follow me. Let's get started. So what we're looking at here is Amazon advertising. As you can see, in a typical month, I spend quite a bit on Amazon advertising. I also get a pretty good return in terms of sales. Note that this does not include my own costs, so this does not reflect profit. But I've had very good results over the past 6 or 7 years that I've been using the platform. So this is my go-to platform for many types of advertising campaigns on Amazon itself. However, Amazon is not the only place where I sell. I'm actually pretty engaged in building up my Shopify and Etsy and other types of businesses. So number 2 for me is actually Facebook ads. I've been using them for probably about 5 or 6 years. I had a lot of difficulty at the beginning using the Facebook ads. Later on, especially during the pandemic, I had fantastic results. But then when there were some changes in the platform, the performance just really dropped right off. So right now I've found that the only types of campaigns that are really worth my while are lead generation campaigns. You can see I'm spending about $600 per month on that. I killed all of the other campaigns that I used over the years. You can see that I had quite a few, including some with big budgets like $150 daily. I was just burning up money. I think Facebook advertising, they really did a poor job of handling that transition. And they constantly nag me to contact them or to talk to one of their ad specialists. The quality of the ad specialists at Facebook is just really inconsistent. Some are really good, some are terrible. And when you get the terrible ones that are just reading from a script or just urging you to spend more money, like, oh yeah, you have to be spending $3,000 per per month or per week or per day or whatever in order to see results or in order to test results. No, there's no way I'm going to be doing that. At one point, I told Facebook after I basically cut my advertising budget to the bone, I said, look, if you want me back, you're going to have to give me some serious credits. And they just said, nope, that's not possible. So basically, I'll use lead ads as long as they continue to work for me. But other than that, I'm not really using any other sort of Facebook advertising campaign. Now, I will say for some other companies, Facebook ads do work pretty well, but generally they have a much higher order value, and that works for them. That's great. Number 3 is Google ads, and I do not spend a lot of money on Google ads. Google ads has been around for maybe 20 years or even longer. And at the very beginning, like the first 5 or maybe 10 years of its existence, you could get some fantastic returns because a lot of companies, small and large, just didn't understand how it worked. But as more and more companies have piled in, the cost per click has gone up. It's just not that efficient at finding, at converting people from browsers into a buyer. You can see that I've spent $1.58 in the last month, and the reason is because I've set a cap on my cost per click, and frankly, Google just can't serve that many. So I'm okay with that. I kind of want to keep one kind of like a finger in the pie, so to speak. But I'm not going to be spending more money on that. I did go through phases where I actually worked with an agency to try to get Google advertising to work for me. It just didn't. Ended up spending a lot of money. It was basically wasted money. So I learned my lesson. Google advertising is not the place to go for returns for me. However, I will say one thing about Google advertising. Other e-commerce platforms do use Google ads for me, and I don't really have to do anything to set that up. Etsy is the classic example of that. So oftentimes if you search for my products in Google, the Etsy shopping ad will show up, Google shopping ad. I'm not paying for that. So Etsy's doing it on their own, and there's good and bad things about that. The good thing is that, all right, that helps with Etsy sales. The bad thing is that it actually takes people away from my main Shopify website. So that's Google ads. And now let's get to the the worst of the bunch that I've tried is Microsoft advertising. It's really, really, I had such a bad experience with them over probably 3 or 4 years. I hired an agency to help me with my Google ads and also my Facebook ads. And they also said, all right, let's do some Microsoft campaigns. And we tried them out. The performance was utterly terrible. And then the worst thing about that, when you shut off a campaign, it didn't shut off. So I was just burning up money on these stupid things because Microsoft didn't turn off the campaign, even though we selected it to turn off. There's some automated setting that turned it back on and was wasting my money. So I basically shut that down. Yesterday, I got a a notification from Microsoft Advertising that I was in violation of policy, accusing me of various violations, which is amazing because, as I said, I don't have any active campaigns. And I was kind of worried that maybe they'd reactivated an old campaign. But actually, it turns out that it's just some sort of automated thing that Microsoft Advertising activated. I was so insulted by this that I actually attempted to shut down my account completely, like delete everything. How do I delete my account on Microsoft Advertising? It said I had to contact somebody. So if a company tells you that you can't delete an account on your own, you have to contact somebody, that is a sign that it's a company that either doesn't know what it's doing or it's losing so many customers that they've inserted this roadblock that is calling somebody on the phone or starting up a chat to cancel an account just to try to convince you not to do it. That's a bad sign. So Microsoft Advertising is absolutely the worst of the bunch. I do not recommend anybody use Microsoft Advertising. I do recommend companies that have an Amazon presence definitely use Amazon Advertising. I found it to be a pretty good platform. You can actually search in my older videos, and I have many videos about creating campaigns, sponsored product campaigns, as well as optimizing those campaigns. So you can check those out. Again, Facebook advertising, I think it works for some companies. It doesn't work for mine because of relatively low average order value, but I do use it for lead campaigns. I found that to be effective. Google is kind of similar because the cost per click is so high. It doesn't work for a company that's selling the products that I sell. So it doesn't work for me, but it might work for companies that have a much higher order value, or they're selling some sort of service or maybe even branding or something like that. And then the one that I stay away from and advise everybody else to stay away from is Microsoft Advertising. Do not get involved with Microsoft Advertising unless you want to really see what a bad platform is like. Ineffective advertising campaigns, small, it's relatively small compared to Google. That is Microsoft Bing. And I'm not really convinced that they know what they're doing if they're sending communications like this accusing their customers of violation of policy, even when they've done nothing wrong.